Superior 3 was built from the ground up on an entirely new platform that allows for some really exciting new features. First of which are expandable and detachable windows. The interface can be expanded to any screen size, and the individual tabs of Superior can be detached and arranged across a single or multiple screens. Also, if you're working on large screens that are far away, or very small laptop screens, you can scale the overall size of the interface larger or smaller to suit your needs. Recorded at Galaxy Studios Belgium, the massive 200+ gigabyte Superior Drummer 3 core sound library includes 6 full kits with 14 total options, such as sticks, hot rods, brushes, and mallets. The drums, which all feature their own individual graphics, were specifically chosen by engineer George Massenberg and Toontrack so that they would be an effective solution for all different types of music. To go even further, not only can you load instruments from the massive core library, but you can load instruments from any of your Toontrack sound libraries to any position on the kit with our all-new Search Instrument window. The Search Instrument window was designed so that you could quickly refine a list of the kind of instrument that you're looking for by library, type, kit piece, and so on. You can type directly into the search field, or you can use the selection of search filters to sort through all of your purchased and installed Toontrack sound libraries. For example, you could search for all snare drums in the Superior 3 library, the Big Rock Drums EasyX, and the Progressive Foundry SDX. Now in your list below, you can see all of the refined options. When you click on an instrument, you can see its unique graphic and a selection of the included articulations. Once you find an instrument that you like, you can replace the selected instrument, or by clicking More, you have additional options where it's possible to layer sounds or add additional drums to the kit with the newly redesigned X-Drum and stacking features. To add an additional drum to the kit from the Drums page, click the Add X-Drum button at the top left of the interface. Clicking this gives you the option to add a normal instrument, a future hit instrument, or import audio. Future hit refers to instruments that Toontrack has sampled in a special way because they produce sound before their predominant accent or transient. For example, a shaker, maraca, or a shaken tambourine. MIDI programming for these instruments is different, and it can be done in Edit Playstyle, which we'll cover in the Grooves tab video. Selecting instrument applies to 99% of all Toontrack samples, and will again bring you back to the Search Instrument window so that you can refine a list of the desired instruments. When you select a new instrument, it appears in the upper left corner of the interface, and it's automatically mapped to a new MIDI note. Not only can you add drums from other Toontrack libraries, but as a first for Toontrack, you can add your own custom samples with a simple drag and drop or by selecting Import Audio. These custom samples can be added as additional drums to the kit. They can replace existing drums, or they can be stacked onto existing drums. Stacking is a new term incorporated throughout Superior 3, and it simply means that multiple instruments play back at the same time and are triggered by the same MIDI note. Stacking and X-Drums are just one of the many areas of Superior 3 that have been redesigned to make the software more intuitive for the user. Superior Drummer 3 makes stacking an even more powerful tool by including a selection of approximately 600 individually sampled electronic sounds in addition to its core library of acoustic sounds. In the included SD3 electronic sound library, there are hundreds of classic 808 and 909 drum machine sounds, hybrid electronic sounds, and cutting-edge modular sounds. Next, we'll move on to the property boxes on the right side of the interface. Property boxes can be thought of as utilities that control the sounds or specific areas of operation for Superior Drummer 3. Property boxes are a huge part of Superior 3 as they contain many new sound design and workflow enhancements. It's important to mention that the property boxes always correspond to the selected instrument, stack, or articulation. So whichever instrument is highlighted in blue, that's the instrument that's being controlled by the property boxes. If you want to take it a step further and only adjust a specific articulation of the instrument, you can by selecting it from the Articulations menu. Here are some of the new features included as property boxes in Superior 3, starting with the Tuning property box. Previously known as pitch, tuning has been upgraded to include separate algorithms for drum heads and cymbals, which allows us to much more accurately recreate the sound of physically tuning a drum up or down in pitch. Clicking Process alters the pitch for all of the articulations of the selected instrument and loads the newly pitched version of the samples into RAM. With the Reverse property box, any instrument or articulation can be reversed, and the length of time for the reverse can be set by the user. The Pitch FX box has two modes, envelope and real time. Envelope changes the pitch of an instrument or articulation over time. Just double-click to add a breakpoint and drag it up or down to raise or lower the pitch. Real time simply changes the entire pitch of the selected instrument from the start of the sample. The next three boxes, Velocity Curve, Velocity Gate, and MIDI Mapping, were all part of the mapping page of Superior Drummer 2. One thing that you may have noticed about Superior 3 is that it has less tabs than version 2. And this is because all of the mapping page features have been absorbed into individual property boxes which are named after the task that they perform. This allows the mapping features to be presented in a more logical way to the user, right where you need them the most. For example, let's say you've added an X drum and you want to remap the note for its center articulation. A full MIDI map of the loaded sound library and the selected instrument can be found to the right in the MIDI mapping property box. Here you can type in a new note value, or you can open up the MIDI mapping keys to drag and drop articulations to new notes. There's also a handy new MIDI monitor property box that shows all incoming MIDI messages. And finally, a hi-hat CC edit property box. This allows you to control the point at which your physical E-drum hi-hat triggers the various open articulations of the hi-hat in Superior Drummer 3. Property boxes can be shown in one of our preset views, either all boxes, the default view, or the MIDI view, and this simply chooses which boxes to display. You can create custom box layouts for yourself with the Show menu. The last new feature that we'll talk about on the Drums tab are the macro controls. Macro controls are accessed by clicking the button in the bottom right of the interface. The macros provide a way for you to control multiple parameters in Superior 3 that you specifically choose with a single knob. Nearly anything in Superior 3 that has a slider, fader, or a knob can be assigned to a macro, which of course includes many of the options you just saw in the property boxes. To bind a control to a macro, I can right-click the control and select the macro knob that I want to use. Or I can open the macro properties and use the record function to record the control that I manipulate in the software. I'll select the snare and then right-click the release breakpoint in the level envelope and bind it to macro 1. The macros can control many parameters with one knob, so I'll go ahead and select multiple new instruments and again assign them to the release control on macro 1. Now with this single macro, I have full control over all the release times for every drum in the kit. Additionally, macro knobs can be MIDI learned or automated in your DAW so that you can use them live or throughout the course of your recorded track. It's even possible to rename the macro so that they're easier to keep track of in your session.